All right, so you've bought the Blight Curse Precon and it's looking pretty good, but you're looking how can you upgrade it on a budget? Well, stay tuned because in this video, we are going to go through a full $50 upgrade that's going to feel a lot more expensive and valuable than that. Alongside Zach Hill, I'm Jerry Ozier. This is the Blight Curse upgrade video. Zach, how are you today?
Wonderful, man. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm awesome. Now, this Blight Curse deck is already, some people are saying an S tier deck. I particularly use it myself. I love it. I think it's very, very cool. What were your initial thoughts about this deck, Zach?
I was excited just for another Sultai commander, honestly, and something new. And I was looking for something, honestly, that had counters. So I love to build decks. So I'm always looking for something new and different to kind of add to that list of things that I build. So for me, having a deck that was more centric around counters is something that I've never built before. And then just being in Sultai, which like these are three of my favorite colors: black, red, green, right? Like those are that's not even Sultai. Sorry, I screwed it up. It's not, it's uh gosh, what is it called? No,
It's not Grixis, is it?
no, hang
Grixis is the
on.
blue, right?
It's Jund. How could I forget that? How could I forget that? Jund. Well, Jund and Sultai though are like those are like my favorite color combos out of all of them by far. And with like Jund specifically, I always tend to build like landfall centric decks. So having a deck that's not going to be landfall focused at all was also really exciting for me to see. So yeah, I don't know. Black and green, I think, are my all-time two favorite colors. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm
Golgari is
excited for it.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think black with anything is great. So let's look at the commander. There are two commanders, and just so you know, there's going to be another video coming out with the Reaper King No More as the commander and a $50 upgrade. I'll be doing that video. Zach did this one. Zach, take us through what the commander is going to do and what your game plan is.
Yeah, so Anti-Ool, the Curse Wretch. It's a one colorless black, red, and the green. It's a legendary creature, Goblin Warlock. It has Ward Blight 2. So if an opponent tries to target this, that player will have to put two -1/-1 counters on a creature they control. And then the text reads, whenever one or more -1/-1 counters are put on a creature, draw a card if you control that creature. If you don't control it, its controller loses one life. And then it's also a 4/4. So this one has a lot of fun synergies that can go along with it, especially in these colors. But my purpose for the deck when I first looked at it was I'm going to want to stack as many counters on all of the creatures, just in general, right? So when I was looking through the deck, I was kind of looking at different spells that I was going to cut because I really wanted to have a more creature focused deck, whether that was going to be my own creatures or creatures from my opponents that I could gain value from. That's what mainly what I was looking at here is just gain like value. How much value can I get out of this commander's abilities? Whether that's me, myself, or just trying to drain my opponent out. So that's kind of the purpose, the thought process where I was coming at with this deck.
Yeah. So let's see what's going on. Now, these pre-con decks, this particular one is already put together quite nicely, but in order to upgrade it, first we have to remove cards because we do have to stick to that 100 card requirement. So let's go through your removals, Zach. What did you remove and what was the reason behind the removal?
Yeah, so the Aberrant Return, which I probably butchered the name, who knows? It costs too much mana. That was my main like when I first go through any precon, I'm always looking at the mana value. I've always been weird about mana value and like high like mana value like spells and things like that are typically the first things that I just want to see gone out of the deck, honestly. And that's typically because in a commander game, you only have about 7-8 turns typically. And I want to just try to get as much value going like as I possibly can, in those first 7 turns or whatever. More than likely wouldn't be able to cast this, and just with put 1, 2, or 3 creatures on the graveyard, like I don't know, like I feel like Living Death or something would be so much better than a card like this, so
Yeah.
just for the mana, the cost of this and what it's actually doing, I don't think that it's doing too much for me.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot of ramp in this pre-con, as it were. So next removal, Zach.
Yeah, the cathartic reunion. I'm so bad with names. So you're as we go through some of these, you're going to see that I basically got rid of a lot of card draw. I don't know that that's necessarily the best move necessarily, but it was a lot of spells with card draw, and I wanted the deck to be more creature focused and try to again gain value from the creatures and things like that. And with the commander, right, I could put a minus one counter on a creature I control and draw a card. So I didn't really feel like some of the spells in the deck to help me draw cards were necessary, and I felt like that there was better values other places. So this was just one of the first ones to go, because there also isn't a lot of like recursion, even though we just talked about a recursion card, but it's a very high mana value card. So
Yeah, and with the Anti-Ul having that draw engine built into it, you're going to get so much value from that because you can line it up.
yeah, for
Next,
sure.
removal, another draw engine card. Not much
Yeah,
to
same
say
thing.
here. Expensive and draw.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's green. It's great, but for 4 mana, draw three. No, I just can't. I don't think it works for the deck. But I could be wrong again. Card draw is amazing. It is probably the most broken ability in Magic the Gathering. Drawing cards is great, but again, like you said, with the built-in mechanics of the commander, I don't think it works.
And if you're trying to take notes watching this, there is a link to the completed $50 upgrade in the show notes that you can just link to and export. So don't, enjoy the conversation instead of sweating what we're doing here. Your next removal, Zach.
Yeah, Hoarder's Greed. So yeah, 3 mana, 3 colorless and a black mana. You lose 2 life and draw 2 cards, then clash with an opponent. If I win, repeat the process. So clashing, you reveal the top card of your library, and then put that card on their choice or top of the bottom. A player wins if their card had a greater mana value. So again, the first thing that I did with this deck was go through and look at all of the high mana value spells. And I tried to remove as many as I could. So this is definitely not going to be useful at all for me because again, I tried to remove the high value stuff. So if I clash with an opponent, probably not going to win. And losing 2 life is whatever, but in drawing 2 is great. But for 4 mana, and I don't
Yeah,
think it's
for,
worth it.
for 4 mana for me, I want more than draw two. Like I don't even care about the life in Commander. I want more than draw two. I understand these cards are fun, but personally, I'm competitive, even though I'm not playing it like bracket four or anything. But like to me, the clash, I have no control over it, so I can't influence it. I can't guarantee I'm going to win at least one. So these kind of cards, I personally always stay away from, and I'm right there with you, Zach. Like you're weaning your deck down, so the chances of you winning are probably not high, anyways.
Yeah, if I would have kept the higher cost mana value cards in there, then this card probably would have stayed. And if I would have put something in like a Sensei Divining Top or something to manipulate the top of my deck, like I guess maybe. But even doing that, like that's not enough synergy to include like a Divining Top or something, and just to try to go with this type of theme. So for me, like this card just it doesn't fit.
Moving into instance.
Yeah, so Infernal Grasp, it's a classic for sure. Destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. Uh, I'm not too big on removal in Commander. I try to keep it like I think to a minimum if I can. I think removal is definitely like you have to have it. You absolutely have to have it. But with this deck and being able to put -1/-1 counters on creatures, I've really just want to maximize the commander as much as I can. So for me, it was just some of the removal I think was just over the top and maybe not needed. Maybe more board wipes would probably maybe be better, but probably not even with this deck. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like some of the targeted removal.
Yeah, I feel like the synergistic removal for this deck are those -1/-1 counters, which the deck comes pre-built with several. It's kind of like it's like alternative removal, right? So I definitely can totally understand that you've got those
Yeah.
things
If
covered. So let's look at the next one.
Yeah, if it would have said like, put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature and lose 2 life, I would have probably kept that, you know. Putrefy, same thing. I think Putrefy is an amazing card, first of all. But for this deck, I don't know. I wanted to use the commander more, so I just had to go through some of the removal and say, "I'm gonna get rid of you, and I'm gonna," and that this was just one of those cuts. So for 3 mana, it's fine. It's a little bit more like, on the expensive side for removal, in my opinion, compared to some of the removal that's out there. So it just had to go.
Yeah, well, and especially because you have access to green, right? So as far as like wanting something to remove artifacts, if you were only in black or something, you have access to tons of options. So understandable casualty. Next is terminate.
Yeah, same thing. This is probably a card that if I were to go back through the deck after playing it a couple times, like, this is one of those cards that I highlighted that would probably end up going back in the deck if I needed more removal, because it's an instant and, a creature can't be regenerated, which could be an issue sometimes. Like, I play against, what is it, like Wolverine, or I think, is it Wolverine or one of those commanders where I think it can regenerate, so it can come in handy. But for, yeah, 2 mana in an instant, it's a classic. But again, I wanted to utilize the commander more than some of the spells in the deck. Yeah,
There's a
Night Swifter.
sorcery.
Yeah, it's a classic card too. Draw 2, lose 2 life. This is, again, probably one of those cards where I would end up putting back in the deck if I found that I needed more card draw. I've only played a couple games with the deck, and I've goldfished it, plenty of times. And I think the card draw is fine with the commander ability. So, yeah, just I don't think that this was needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if you're watching the video and taking notes, like obviously the deck is in the show notes, but some of these cards that you might want to keep sleeved and like in the box, so you can swap them in and out as you're tuning the deck finally for your gameplay style. All right. We got some enchantments. This one did some serious work for me at a pre-release event, just so you know.
Oh yeah, lasting Tarfire, so a colorless and a red. At the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, this enchantment deals 2 damage to each opponent. Yeah, I think this is a fine card, but it's only doing 2 damage to each opponent, so it's not stacking. At the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, this enchantment deals 2 damage to each. It's only doing 2 damage. Like in Commander, there's just no. I don't feel like this is the card that should be in the deck. It's not enough compared to like other cards that exist out there. So for me, like, this card just does absolutely nothing for me.
Jeez, tell me what you really think. Yeah, I will
It
say
is.
because you can do it on each end step. You can take advantage of this if you're able to, instantly put ones on other creatures, but you do have to line it up and everything. So reasonable cut. Grave Venerations.
This is a card where I've seen a lot of people like it, actually. So, Grave Venerations, 3 colorless and a black enchantment. When it enters, you become the monarch, and at the beginning of your end step, if you're the monarch, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I swapped this for Bastion of Resemblance, is basically what happened here. So when we get to the additions, that's basically what I will talk about. Bastion of Resemblance costs 3 mana. It adds a token. You get a 1/1 token, and then whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. Right? It's the same thing. I don't want to have to rely on the monarch as a function of an ability on a card. That's not like the style of gameplay that I enjoy, like keeping track of the monarch and all of that stuff. And like, people are always fighting over it. So it's just like, if I can remove that ability from a deck, I'm going to do it because I don't want to track it and I don't want to fight over it. So it's fine. That's my personal, like, just gameplay right there, right? Like, that I removed that card for it because of that mainly. And I think Bastion of Resemblance, or whatever that card name is much better.
Oh, Shamil the Inner Sun.
Yeah.
I've got some thoughts about this. I took this out of my Reaper King No More Precon version too.
Yeah, it's a great card. I love this card. So it actually hurts to remove this from the deck because I think it's just overall great card. But it costs 6 mana, and that's just way too expensive. Like, it's just way too expensive for me in the commander format. Even like in a bracket 3 or bracket 2 level type of game, like, I don't really, honestly don't play a lot of bracket 2, but at bracket 3, like, it's too much for me. The discoverability is great, but I just don't feel like I'm gonna get the value out of this that I need. It just for the synergy with the deck, it's not doing anything for me.
I was pumped that it was in the Precon because I don't have a copy of it, and now I do. And I think this card puts in a lot of work once
Yeah.
you get it going. But I feel like the synergy in the deck, like there's no real synergy. It's not like you're hitting the carnivore Tinosaur where it hits and then it grabs more creatures and you can kind of snowball it. So plus I did similar to you, Zach. Like I cashed out a lot of my heavy creatures for cheaper spells. So like Discover 5, you got a higher likelihood of hitting a 2-drop or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. It I don't think there's synergy with this card in the deck, so it doesn't work.
now this is a spicy one, more of a modern hot take.
I don't like this card. I'm not a fan of this card at all. I would only ever play this card if it was in an artifact type of deck.
Is this an
3
auto remove? Because this is in a lot of precons.
Yeah, for me, it's an auto remove 100% of the time. I do not care for it at all. Yeah, 3 mana just to add like 1 mana of any color. Great. Sacrifice it to draw a card. Whatever. I guess that's fine. But I'd much rather play like Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Soul Ring, and then the other like 2 mana artifacts, like a Rakdos Charm or something like that,
Yeah, or the talisman
Yeah,
for
or a
whatever you're doing.
talisman for sure. 100% of the time. I never want to play a 3 mana add mana, card. It's just
Rock, yeah.
yeah, rock.
Okay.
Thank you, rock. Doesn't fit for me.
Archfiend of Ifnir. We're getting into the creature removal now. Or creature that you removed.
Yeah, so this one is one of the stupidest cards I think in the deck, quite honestly. I'm just like be 100% honest in it. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. You're not doing a lot of cycling and discarding in the deck. I guess there was some cards that did let you discard that I actually removed from the deck, so any of the synergy that this card might have had, I removed it anyway. And there was
Yeah.
still just not enough of the synergy to really make this card effective. So for 5 mana, no thank you.
Yeah, I feel like this card belongs in a completely different paradigm of deck style. So,
Mhm.
all right, the Grim Puppet.
I'm sure if you're watching this, you can see that it costs 7 mana. But it's an artifact. When it enters, it gets the 3 -1/-1 counters on it. You can remove a -1/-1 counter from this creature to put a -1/-1 counter on another target creature. There's a lot of synergy with this card. Don't get me wrong, right? Like this card is probably absolutely busted in this deck, and if you plan to play with it in that way, right? Like I could see a lot of different combos that you can go do with this, and adding and removing counters and all of that fun stuff, right? It's just too much mana. It's a 4/4. It's an artifact. It gets hit by a lot of different removal. But overall, it just costs way too much mana for this deck.
Yeah, I mean it's a 7-cost creature that comes into play as a 1/1, which that, like, to put it in perspective, that mythic black 1-drop that's a 7/7 with 6 -1/-1s on it that everybody's in love with.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I feel like kind of like you, Zach. Like unless you're doing massive ramp, a 7-drop has to be like a game ender. Like it just you drop it and it's everybody scoops
It has
and
to
no
do
one's
something more than whatever it's doing right now.
yeah. All right, we got the goat.
Yeah, oft nabbed goat, one colorless and a black. For 1 mana, you can draw a card, gain control of this creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on it. Only your opponents may activate this ability, and only as a sorcery. And when this creature dies, if it had 1 or more -1/-1 counters on it, its owner draws that many cards, and each other player loses that much life. I mean, it's it's a cool card, right? Like
It's gimmicky.
it is. It's totally gimmicky, but I don't want to give my opponents the ability to draw a card, right? Like, so for me, it's just like that's not. I don't know. It doesn't work for me, and with what this deck is trying to do again, like it does fit the synergy with getting the -1/-1 counters on it, but for me, like I don't know, I would put this in a totally different deck where I was trying to manipulate my opponents and things more. you know?
Yeah, or like Sheldred, you know what I mean? So there's like a like a pain for draw. Um, I actually spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to like exploit this goat, and then I just pulled it out of my deck because I was like, I can't wrap my head around it.
Hmm.
All right, now the puppeteer click. This is
Yeah.
another one that I had to Google like a rules explanation on to get this one.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
expensive too,
fine
right?
card. Yeah, so Puppeteer click, 3 colorless, 2 black, Fairy Wizard flying. When this creature enters, put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste at the beginning of your next end step, exile it, and persist. And it has persist. There's definitely some synergies here where you can remove the persist counter and like sacrifice this thing and recur it over and over again to get like all of your opponent's stuff out of their graveyard or something if you wanted, but none of those other components exist in the decks. So like I don't know. For me, it doesn't do enough for the
Yeah,
deck. For like I think like just working within the deck and what it's trying to do. It's a great card. But I don't think there's enough ways to manipulate this card to be in the deck.
yeah. I also like to think that like your game plan isn't to futz around with, you're not playing like a blue deck where a blue black where you're kind of like chilling and waiting for the moment when something sick drops into the graveyard. Like you're building, like you're pushing creatures and pushing negative ones everywhere, right? So I don't know, I feel like for me it's too risky, too much of a gamble that there's going to be something you want in there to grab at the time that you're going to want to cast this thing.
Yeah, and your opponent's graveyard too. It's just like I don't. Yeah, you don't know that they're always going to have something. Like if it was
Yeah,
from any graveyard, it would probably be a little bit better because that way you could
I, I
grab your own
I'd
thing.
rather just exile their whole graveyard and call it a day. Like that's my play
Or
style.
that, yeah, there's
All
that
right, so
too.
you took some planeswalkers out. The deck comes with two.
I took them all out. They're
You
all
took them both
gone.
out, yeah. So what's the reason here for Lily?
There's no surprise if
Too,
you've
too
listened to
expensive.
me. Yeah, if you listen to me talk this whole time. 7 mana, 5 colorless, and 2 black for a planeswalker. Absolutely not. Never in my life will I ever put a planeswalker that costs that much mana in my deck, in any deck, unless I'm ramping like super, super hard.
All
No,
right.
it's just way too expensive. And it doesn't, and it's fine. Like it fits the synergy, but like I just don't know that you're going to get there.
It
Same with,
does fit the synergy really well. I did leave it in mine. We'll see if I ever cast it. But
uh,
Vraska's also been pulled. Now she's cheaper, Zach. You can do it for 5 and 2 life. What's her problem? She proliferates.
yeah, I mean, this is the like a planeswalker that I could potentially put back in the deck, but uh, I don't know. It just doesn't do enough for me. Like the proliferate is great. It definitely would help out the deck a lot. But even for 5 mana, like I don't know. I don't know if there's enough happening on the board. Because let's say like you get your commander out on turn 3 or 4. Um, are you able to like do enough with your counters, in that time to like make that proliferate worth it at any point? I don't know. I don't think so. Like that's where I'm at with it. It's just like that's the only thing on that card that I can see any value of.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I never. The ultimates are always cool, but you never really get to them unless you have some type of game plan around it. The second option, her -2 option, it is great to remove a problem creature, but to me, it kind of goes against what the commander's trying to do because if you remove a creature, there's one less creature for you to put -1/-1 counters on, which is what you need to do for Auntie Ul to get her situation online. So, all right, well,
Yeah, I'm
heavy
yeah.
mana, card draw, spot removal, kind of the key categories in Planeswalkers that you removed. Felt pretty good. The cards that you left in, you feel like they're kind of aligned with your overall strategy here. Not big creatures, but lots of creatures and lots of counters.
I think so. I hope so. Um, I feel good about the cuts that I made. I have to play the deck a little bit more, but I feel good at where it's at right now. And I think the most important takeaway for anybody who watches, listens to this, and listens to other people out there is like Commander is a format that you can really craft towards your play style. And that's really, really important. So like you could see tons of great deck lists out there and great additions to cards, but like if they don't fit your play style, don't play them. And that's okay. Like because there's 20,000 plus other cards for you to choose from. And they could do very similar things or better things. And that's okay.
Long as it's not Commander Sphere.
Yeah,
Ain't
whatever.
nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for Commander Sphere. So you took 18 cards out. By the way, it's a $50 budget upgrade at time of filming. Of course, prices fluctuate, market fluctuates, and Zach's very good at deck building. So chances are cards he's picking may go up in value just because of him getting the secret out. But let's look at what you added, Zach.
Yeah, sure. So Bastion of Remembrance. I think I butchered that name like 17 times in this video already. But we talked about this one because one of the cards that we removed did very similar things. When it enters, you create a 1/1, and when a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It costs 3 mana. Creatures are going to be dying, and I love the fact that I get a 1/1 that I can automatically target with my commander immediately. Well, not immediately, but it's a creature token that will die also. So it's going to trigger the effect of the card. But hopefully I'll also be able to draw a card from my commander from that creature. It's also a blocker or attacker if I need it. So for me, I just love this card, and just about any black deck that I have, like I'm trying to see if I can fit this card in there because it just synergizes with so many things.
Yeah, great for Aristocrats deck too.
For sure.
So next one you added was the Birthing Ritual.
Yeah, I love this card. Birthing Ritual, 1 colorless and a green enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Then you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from among those cards onto the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. This is just a great way to get through the deck and find better creatures or different creatures based on like what you're trying to do at that time. And being like sacrificing a creature is great because hopefully we have a -1/-1 counter on there or something, or maybe the sack ability of that creature does something cool or whatever. But this for me just it's a fun card that lets me cheat in other cards, and I always love to do that. So yeah, for this one, it's just a fun way to cheat in some other creatures.
I like it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, you say it.
Yeah, Chthonian Nightmare, 1 colorless and a black enchantment. When it enters, you get 3 energy counters, and you can pay X energy counters to sacrifice a creature, and you return Chthonian Nightmare to its owner's hand, and return target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. This is a fun card because it's just recursion, right? It's recursion on a stick. There's lots of great cards in the deck that cost like 3 mana value or less. But you can also stack the energy. So, you could recur like a creature that's 1 mana value or something, and then, replay the nightmare and then have 5 energy and recur something then, So there's just a lot of fun synergies with this. And you're playing black. Like if you're not trying to recur stuff out of your graveyard, what are you even doing? Right.
Yeah, this is a crazy good card. Like that Bastion of Remembrance, you got a 1/1 little token you can sack out and then bring a 3-drop in, basically ahead of curve, and get this card back to play again, which is sick. I know you took out proliferate type things, but I could see there's probably some shenanigans involved with proliferation in this card and pulling something out of the graveyard that's like ridiculous.
Yeah,
Fun one. Not bad for 2 mana, dude. You could get like 2 reanimates.
Yeah, that's great. I love this card.
Auto include Eldritch Evolution.
That's a great one. Sorcery, 1 colorless and 2 green. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Love sacrificing creatures. That's fine. But once you sacrifice that creature, you can search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put that card on the battlefield, then exile Eldritch Evolution. Just a great tutor ability. I think like this is one of those that often gets included in green decks with creatures and things like that. Just because it's a broken card. Honestly, I love this card. The fact that you could sacrifice any creature and then search for something that is 2 plus the sacrifice creature's mana value, like that's huge, right? So that just helps me cheat in higher casting cost creatures out of the deck, which very much come in handy for some of the things that you're doing in this deck. So yeah, I try to include this anytime I am playing, especially Golgari for sure. Like this is an auto include.
Kodama's Reach. That's a good one. I haven't seen this one before.
Yeah, I can't believe that I added this. But for me, the ramp was important. Trying to like, even though like I cut, we talked about ramp in this deck. I talked about cutting high casting cost cards out of the deck. Because there was not a ton of ramp, and here I am including ramp. But that's just so that I'm able to play even the lower casting stuff, casting cost cards and stuff on curve, or cast multiple spells on a turn. That's more important to me than trying to play something that's high value mana cost. Especially for this deck, I think there's a lot more value in casting multiple spells on a turn, especially with the commander ability and being able to draw cards and things like that. That's going to be clutch. So being able to speed up my mana a little bit, I think, is really important. So that's why Kodama's Reach came into play.
Yeah, and the fact that one of the manas comes into your hand, it is ramp in a sense, but like I also think it's important that you hit your land drops. Like it's kind of I feel like everybody knows it, but it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves. Like when you miss a land drop, I mean, you're a turn behind.
Yep.
So definitely a good include here. Oh, classic.
Yeah, this is probably one of my absolute favorite commander cards in black. Sheoldred's Edict, one colorless and a black. It's an instant. Each opponent, and you can choose one. There's 3 modes. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token, or each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker. This just hits everybody at the table. It hits everybody but you, which is just amazing for 2 mana. Like having them sacrifice one of these things that's going to be it is a problem for you. I just love it. It's honestly, it's an auto include, I think, in every single black deck that I play, rather than targeted removal. This one it's a lot more fun. And sometimes like you would much rather have some targeted removal for some creatures, but I don't know. This one just creates a little bit more of chaos, and I love chaos.
Yeah, I like the Edict a lot myself. For me, like I don't typically always have a good way to deal with a planeswalker, and if they're gonna get ultimate, it's a big problem. So this is nice because I mean, unless you're playing Super Friends, you're not gonna have typically like a bunch of planeswalkers out. But your deck does care about creatures dying too, right? The Scarecrow cares about it. Some of your cards get benefits when creatures die. So this if you got a full table, you're gonna get at least 3, right off the rip.
Oh yeah. And I don't know about you, but like the play group that I play a lot with, they play a lot of spells and abilities that make it so you cannot target like their creatures. So be like having them like this ability to like they have to sacrifice a creature, it gets around so much. So I just love this card.
I love it. Oh, the lantern being added.
So I did say earlier with the
Commander Sphere, this looks very similar, buddy. And you had a pretty strong argument why you hated it.
I did. It cost 3 mana, and I felt like it didn't do enough for me. This is one of those 3 mana cards where I think it does more than enough for me, like a 3 mana rock. This lets you tap it to add mana, which is great, but it makes all of my lands be able to add any color. And that's important. So with this deck, I did no changes to the mana base. I think I removed a land from the Precon. So
no. I mean, you may have done it during testing, but it was not final.
So, yeah. All right, so never mind. So yeah, so no changes to the mana base, and especially on a budget, that's really, really hard. If I had no budget, the very first things that I change in a deck is the mana base always. That's adding like all the if a dual land or like the fetch lands, the shock lands, right? But on a budget, can't do that. So this is the best budget card to fix your mana base, in my opinion. Like there's like not really many other cards that can compete with this as far as like mana base fixing, and this is just it's so extremely important. I feel like so.
So there you go.
It's an auto include just for that.
I was gonna say, so if you're playing a 3, 4, 5 color commander, and you can't afford, shock lands or dual lands. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
this
know
is the
who's
card.
running around just buying dual lands, but this is a great option on a budget.
Yeah.
Cursed Mirror.
Cursed Mirror. I love this card too. Like you probably like I think every video I do where I talk about building a deck or anything, like I probably say I love this card or it's my favorite card at least 6 or 7 times, honestly.
That's all
But
right.
it's true, like it's such a great card. So Cursed Mirror, 2 colorless and a red. It's an artifact. You can tap it to add a red. And this is really funny, right? Because they're talking about 3 mana rocks, right? And here I am putting in a 3 mana rock that only adds red, right? Why am I doing that? It's because when Cursed Mirror enters the battlefield, I can have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. I cannot tell you how many times that ability right there has come in just clutch. Like I think almost every single time I play this card, I'm utilizing that ability, like on curve even, and it always comes in handy. So just having that ability to become a copy of any creature, it's just huge for me. And then
Do you get the enter the battlefield effect of the copy?
yep, yeah, because it's entering the battlefield, so it enters the battlefield as the copy of that creature. So you get,
Okay.
yeah, that's one of the things about it that makes it so freaking cool to me.
Wow. All right.
It has
So
a lot
that's
of
cool.
cool synergy.
Yeah, and just so people at home, since Zach said this is like an auto include in pretty much every 3, 4, 5 color commander deck, I priced it for budget. Right now on TCG Player, it has a market price of $1.50, and you can get it, moderately played for $1.19. So that is very budget.
For the chromatic lantern.
All right, so this one was a surprise to me. I typically remove this from my precons, but go on.
Uh, the sad robot. That's its nickname, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad robot, solemn simulacrum. It's a 4 mana value creature. It's a 2/2. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, and then when it dies, you may draw a card. This is this should go in every single one of these decks. Honestly, you should
Just for
remove
value.
for value. It's a creature that you could target with your commander. And it draws a card when it dies, right? So you get that value. You also get the ramp value from it. So for me, like again, I'm getting ramp. So I'm getting an additional mana. I'm getting the ability when it dies to draw a card. Like that is huge. And it's a creature which fits the deck perfectly. So when you brought this up to me earlier, I was like, oh man, I cannot wait to get to this card because it is absolutely 100% like auto include for this deck. The synergy with it is fantastic.
All right. Well, there you go. So this is why we do the videos for you, so you can get other people's opinions instead of me just dunking on the sad
What
robot here.
what's wrong with the sad robot?
I don't know.
Costs too
He's
much mana?
fine. He's fine. He reminds me of that like white artifact, gnome thing that like it comes in a plane, you get like a food token, and then when it dies, you get like a life or something. It's
Draw a
just like
card, yeah.
it's chunk fodder. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't got time for you.
That card is so much value, man. Like that's just value. Ramp and drawing cards. Oh, it's so good. And I could target it with my commander. Same
All
thing
right.
with this guy, right? Clifftop Lookout. Love this card too. It's a 2 colorless and a green. It's a creature. It has reach, which I think is a great ability. Honestly, I think I want to highlight that specifically. That like the reach ability it's completely like undervalued, right? Like nobody appreciates reach as much as they should. So it's just like that's a nice ability for this card.
I will say, not in Commander, but in 1v1, I never really notice. I never really put cards with reach in, but I always notice when I have a flyer and there's a reach on the other side. It was actually this guy last weekend, and I was like, God,
Yep. It's so good. It's just but The rest of the card, the ability from it, when Clifftop Lookout enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest of the bottom of your library in random order. It's ramp. It's a creature, and it ramps, and you can't beat that. Honestly, it's like a Wood Elves basically. Wood Elves could have absolutely 100% gone in there. That just grabs a forest. This is going to grab any land from the top of my library and put it in the battlefield tapped. It's fine. It's helping me ramp. It has the reach, like we talked about. It's a creature, so I can target it with my commander. So for me, I thought this was just a great include, just based off of like the abilities that it has.
Emperor of Bones.
Emperor of Bones. 1 colorless and a black creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, so any graveyard, and it has the adapt to ability. So for a colorless and a black, you can adapt to. It doesn't show you what adapt to means, but when you use that ability, that reads, I think, if this creature has no counters on it, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So then the rest of the card reads, whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Emperor of Bones, put a creature card exiled with Emperor of Bones onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the end step. I think this is a great card. Just with the, it is doing +1/+1 counters, so not the same synergy with the commander and all of that. But it could let me theoretically like use the ability to do this like numerous times, right? Like putting -1 counters on there, adding -1, or adding removing counters, whatever. Sorry, but the ability of being able to pull creatures out of my opponent's graveyards could be fun. For me, I think this is just kind of like a fun card that I wanted to include in the deck just to see what would happen with it. I don't necessarily think it provides a lot of great synergy with the deck, but I think Emperor of Bones is just a really good card to try in the deck to see what happens with it. Honestly, that's probably one of the cards that I would end up cutting, just based on what it's doing. I think that's more of like a value. Like I'm trying to put in, like, get more value than I should be, and I think that would be a good cut. Evolution
Witness.
Yeah, this probably could be swapped for any of the different like graveyard recursion creatures. Like can't think of the Eternal Witness, right? Eternal Witness is a great one. This one again, I just wanted to play with the counters and stuff. That's really the only reason why I included this one and probably Emperor of Bones, is just to have more counter stuff, whether it be +1 or -1. I wanted to have a deck that did counter shenanigans. So it was just one of those kind of ads there. But again, I think you could swap it out with any of the other ones.
Speaking of counter shenanigans, I actually saw an ad for something the other day where, like, normally I just use a dice and turn it over, and it's like, we'll just pretend this counts +1/+1 or -1 -1. It was kind of cool. It was like it looked like a coin, and it just said -1 -1 on it. But then inside of it, you could spin it, and you could flip the coin over, and it says +1/+1, and you can spin it. It's kind of cool. It's like a
I'm gonna use my 3D printer, I think, to print out some tokens, like -1 -1 and +1/+1.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'll need some.
Magda, a pirate. Magda. Oh no, she's not a pirate. She's a dwarf berserker.
Dwarf, yeah. This one, I don't think belongs in the deck after looking at it. I do this often. Every time I build a deck, I will go through them like numerous times, honestly. Like I'll look through the cards and read them a few times. Sometimes they make sense to me, sometimes they don't. Sometimes like it doesn't click with me until like a couple like weeks afterwards. And now this is one of those cards where I'm looking at again where it's like, I don't know that this is going to be the best.
Well, you can commit a crime fairly easy by putting a counter on a creature. Right. You can do it every single turn. You only get it once per turn, but by the time it comes back to you, you could have 3 treasures if you I mean, it'd have to be a perfect scenario. But
that was kind of the thought with it, is like maybe I can get some value out of it and get some treasure tokens just from targeting other people's stuff with the commander. I don't think it's a good fit, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm glad, this is kind of fun going through this and talking about it now, because it's like in real time makes me like actually think about, question these cards. I think I would remove this card if I were to go back, and again, I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think I have enough enough. I don't think it does enough.
Magda's only 35 cents right now on TCG, so not going to hurt the budget if you accidentally pick it up. And
It's a cool card, right? Because you're getting treasures and it's helping you ramp. You have spells that will help you commit the crimes and things like that. And if you have nothing better to do with your treasures, like creating a 4/4 dragon token's phenomenal, right? And that's like another creature that you could target with your commander. So it could be okay. I just feel like there's probably much better cards.
Nest of Scarabs. Now, this is one that is going to be popular with this precon, so I would expect the value of this card to go up
Yeah, I think I
quite
picked it up.
rapidly. So hopefully you've already scooped it up.
Yeah, I picked this one up pretty cheap. It was less than a couple bucks, I think, when I grabbed it. Now I know it's went up already, but yeah, Nest of Scarabs, 2 colorless and a black enchantment. Whenever you put a 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create that many 1/1 black insect creature tokens. I mean, this is
Tailor made.
yes, it is. Like this is the card for the deck. Like if there's any card that like absolutely 100% belongs in the deck, that's probably this one.
Yeah.
You cannot beat the value of this card at all. All you're doing is putting -1/-1 counters on everything. So you're getting lots and lots of 1/1 black tokens. So
And then if you have, obviously this the remembrance one, like you putting any spells in that hurt your opponents when creatures die, you've got an army of things to kill. So
yeah,
Sylvan Cardiad.
I thought that wasn't it? It's in the precon.
Is that in the precon?
I'm pretty sure, wasn't it?
Well, we might have our first small
No,
issue.
no, it isn't.
Let me look at it. I've got the precon up right now.
Oh, it's not.
It is not. This is an addition by one Zach Hill. Zach, why did we add Sylvan Cartiad?
Because it's ramp. So Sylvan Caryatid or whatever, 1 colorless and a green. It has defender and hexproof, and you could tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and it's a 0/3. So everything about this card screams that it should go in this deck for the ramp ability, the hexproof ability, and it being a 0/3 means that I can target this twice with my commander before it's going to die, again from another counter. So it just has tons of value for me. It's ramp. It's a creature. And yeah, it's a blocker. I don't know. I love this card.
And it's green. You've obviously got, a soft spot for green in your heart.
I love green. It's a great color.
It's definitely gotten a lot of support over the years. All right, here we go. For the next ad, we have Thief of Blood. Nice. Very expensive, Zach. For someone who doesn't like expensive cards, let's have a justification on the value proposition.
I didn't realize how expensive it was going to go up once I added it. It was a card that was in my binder because it was in like the 2014 Commander deck that I had from way back when. And it's a very expensive card, right? And that's why it's been sitting in my binder for years and years and years and years and years because it's just too expensive for me. And I don't play enough decks that rely on counters. I don't play against people who use counters. This is a perfect fit for the deck. Like all you're doing is putting counters on things. If there's any which way, like if there's like if I'm going to pay 6 mana for something, like this is the value right here. Like this to me like screams all of the value for 6 mana, because not only is it going to affect everything on your side of the table, it's going to affect all of your opponents. I don't think I read the card. So as Thief of Blood enters the battlefield, remove all counters from all permanents. And then Thief of Blood enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each counter removed this way. So any -1/-1 counter, any counter on your planeswalkers, any counters on this, that, or the other thing, they're all gone, and they all get added to my Thief of Blood.
Dude, so this would instantly kill all planeswalkers as well.
Yep.
That's powerful. And then, if you're me, who's been trying to shoehorn Millennium Calendar into a deck for some time, right? You'd be happy to see me show up at the table.
Yeah. I just, excuse me. I think it's like $15 now or something, right?
I can look.
I could probably look too, but I would say it. Yeah. Erroneous
You can
Dream.
buy it off TCG right now. Listings is 745.
Oh, that's a decent price. I think it's totally worth it for $7 then. If it
Yeah.
was any more than that, I don't know that it'd be so
Well,
worth
and
it. But
you're
for
working with a
$7,
$50 budget, so
yeah, for $7, like this card should just hit the table and yeah, do some work, right?
so I do want to point out really quickly. I don't like gimmicky cards because it's not how I like to play. However, this card does qualify as it's not gimmicky at all, but it does like a gimmicky thing to the table where like it destroys so many people's like next two turns. They're like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden, all the planeswalkers are gone, and like all the things they're doing are messed up. Oh, I love that
Yeah.
kind of action on the table. This is like ultimate interaction.
Yeah, it's any counter. So like there are so many cards in Magic the Gathering now that are printed that say put this kind of counter on this permanent, right? And it's literally worded like a very specific counter, right? Like I think Millennium Calendar says like put a millennium counter on
Yeah,
this
like
thing or
time
something, you
counter
know?
on it.
A
Yeah.
time counter, yeah, right? So it's just like it hits so many different things because it does not specifically say what kind of counters. It's just all counters. And to
You know,
me in Commander, that could be pretty gross. And
dude, this might be the only card that I know of that can help you get poison counters off of you.
no, because it's only permanents.
Oh, all right, all right, all right. For a second, I was like, "Holy crap!" Because as far as I know, there's no unpoisoning.
There's not. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
so I thought maybe
Yeah.
I found something, but I'll
Yeah.
just go
No,
back to the board.
yeah, as long if it has to be a permanent for sure. But still, either way, it's a broken card. It's great.
We got
Yeah,
the Wall of Roots.
Wall of Roots. Like, how is this not in the deck? How did I have to add Wall of Roots to this deck? I do not understand. I guess because it's not a -1/-1 counter. That's the key thing, right? That's what it's saying. You know,
You have to get a
'cause
special 3D printed -0, -1
yeah.
counter.
So it's not gonna, using its ability isn't gonna trigger my commander or anything like that, right? Because it's not a -1/-1. But it's still a counter, which goes well with Thief of Blood, right? Right. But it's ramp, put a -1 or -0, -1 counter on Wall of Roots to add a green mana and activate only once each turn. It's a great ramp spell. It's a 0/5, so I could target this thing, numerous times with my commander if I wanted to, and every turn I can add a green mana until for 5 turns I can add a green mana with this thing. So and I think it's just a good ramp spell and a blocker and a good target for my commander because it's a 0/5.
Now, the final card before I bring it up is a powerhouse, and I just want the viewer to know that Zach made these additions at the time of when this Precon came out. This particular card is so juicy and so yummy that it has gone. If you thought that the Nest of Scarabs is going to go up, this one has already kind of skyrocketed. So this one would technically hurt your budget, like hurt the $50 budget, but at the time it did fall into it. Zach, take us through your powerhouse here.
Yeah, it was less than like $20 when I added it. Yawgmoth Thran Physician. It's 2 colorless and 2 black. Legendary creature, human cleric. It's a 2/4. It has protection from humans, and then it says pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature, and draw a card. And then it says discard a card to proliferate.
Dude, that thing is like got so much value stapled onto it.
If you can afford this card, it absolutely 100% has to like go in the deck. It is probably going to be one of the strongest cards in the deck
Yeah.
for sure.
It's a remove on site. It's a remove on site.
Well, dude, it's like there's a lot of synergy with this thing, with the deck. Like the Bastion of Remembrance, the other card that lets me get tokens and stuff. Anytime I'm able to get a token, it's great because I can kill it and draw a card. I can, or I can kill it to target something. You have to sacrifice a creature, so I'm going to need those tokens. So they come in handy. Discarding a card is great, this is where, when I was looking at going back to one of the other editions, the Kodama's Reach, that set that reads, it's two colorless and a green, and you search your library for two basic lands, put one in library tapped and one in your hand. Well, I maybe I don't need that extra land that I put in my hand, and I could discard it to proliferate. Like that's a one-off instance where like that specific synergy comes in handy. But that's literally what I was thinking with it. It's like I do need to find ways to get ramp. I need to find ways to get cards in my hand, because when I play this card, I'm gonna have to discard stuff. So
Yeah, I always like the aristocrat styles where there's no tapping involved. So like you play this, instant removal happens. You could still refill your hand. You know what I mean? Like by paying life and sacking creatures, like before the removal takes effect. So I'm a fan of Yawgmoth. Plus, I think this artwork is amazing. Like I love that black and red. He looks scary AF.
yeah, that's a cool
So,
card.
so that is that's the additions, that's the removals, and that's the overall strategy for the Auntie Ool's commander version of the Blight Curse deck. Compliments of Zach. Zach, uh, before we ask for final thoughts, just remember link is in the description below. Just goes directly to a Mox Field or Mana Box or one of these where Zach has put the deck, so you can export it. Do whatever you want. If you have comments about some of the removals he made, some of the additions he made, you think a card might be better in place of something. He mentioned he didn't like the Magda anymore. What would you put in there? Let us know. Like, get the conversation going, because that's the whole point of doing this and helping people level up. Zach, what are your final thoughts about this deck and about your $50 budget upgrade?
Final thoughts. I'm excited to play it more to see how it competes against my play groups and things like that. Because I think it's a lot of fun. I think if you're looking for a deck that has like a lot of like interaction with things and it's letting you do counter shenanigans, then it's definitely going to be a deck that you'll probably enjoy. Again, like when I saw this deck, I knew that I was already in a place where I was looking for a deck that utilized counter synergy in some way. So it just fit perfect for me. And again, yeah, the Jund colors, Jund. I gotta make sure that I very much say that because I screwed up earlier and said Sultai. But yeah, it's I think it's a great color combination for this deck for what it's doing, and I don't know, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so here's a bonus for you as the viewer, right? So you're watching this on this YouTube channel. Zach is literally going to pilot this exact deck in a 4-person commander pod. He does it live on stream, but obviously it'll be available on replay. And if you want to see how to play this deck, so not just what cards to buy and to remove, but get tips and play patterns on winning and making the right choice at the right time. Zach's going to be doing that for you. So it'll be a complimentary video to follow up this one to make you even more effective using this deck, since you're investing close to $100 in it between the pre-con and the upgrades.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you have fun with it too. And if you do make additions or removals that are different from like what we've done, let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were. Just remember that we were keeping it on a budget of $50. So if I had my way, there would be lots of changes to this deck for sure. That would throw it way over $50.
Yeah, $50 budget upgrades are fun because it's within reach for more people, and it's just you got to make hard choices. I will say, if you're interested, we are going to be doing another version of this video, except it'll be me with the Reaper King No More as the commander, the alt commander for the Blight Curse deck. So if you want, hit subscribe. And that video will be coming out in a few weeks, so you can see how to do a $50 upgrade. Also, if you're interested in like a $300 upgrade or a $150 upgrade, let us know. I mean, obviously it's expensive for us to invest in it, but if there's a desire or want from the community to see that kind of content, we can certainly investigate it and get it going. Zach, thanks so much for upgrading Auntie Ool and making us more effective with our commander deck.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for doing this with me, and look forward to the next one. I
Heck yeah,
hope you
buddy.
all have fun building your decks.